Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to be building a kiwi trellis on this hillside. Let me show you how I'm going to do it. Okay, so this is where the kiwi trellis is going to be. I'm basically going to have a series of trellises that run along this way, basically kind of going towards that pavilion over there. And there's going to be 4 different sets of trellis support structures, and those are going to be side by side to basically create a single. It'll kind of act as a single structure that is about 25 by 30 feet basically, and it'll be 6 feet in the air. Okay, I got the layout done. You know, a lot of times the layout is the hardest part, it seems like. I think that digging the holes is probably going to be the hardest part, but it is important to get the layout correct. I want to make sure I got it right. So basically, these are going to be the rows here with the trellises, and so I'm going to have 4 sets. You can see them here. And then I'm also going to line up the posts so that when I have the crossbars, they're all going to be kind of level with each other. So it'll be, instead of being like 4 stepped trellises, it'll be basically like a single trellis that goes you know, about 25-30 feet across. So I got all the post locations marked. So the next step is to dig the holes. Well, that was fun. I'm finished digging the holes and I got all the posts set in concrete. There's 12 posts, and then I have anchor holes at the end. I'm gonna set some anchors in concrete to tie off the wires that are gonna go form the trellis. All right, well, that's the end of day 1, and I got all my in-ground work done, which I'm pretty happy with. I didn't honestly think I'd get this far on the first day, but this is good. So next step will be working on the crossbars or the T-bars, and then I'll be putting the wire in. So it's moving along, and I'd say, honestly, I feel like the hardest part is done now. Okay, I'm back at it, putting these wood crossbars on, and I've got this all laid out with strings so that I know exactly how to angle these crossbars so that I get a straight, flat surface all the way across, and it's not a stepped sort of look, which I want to get that straight, flat surface for the kiwis to grow on. And there we have it. I've got all the crossbars on now. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's not perfect, but I've got that effect that I was looking for where I can put those high tensile wires in and it'll create a single continuous plane basically for those kiwis to grow. And that was the effect I was trying to achieve. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm all finished with my kiwi trellis. You can see it behind me here. So here it is, finished product, and you can see how I got these T-bars kind of lined up and then moving across to the second set of posts here. This one turned out pretty good also. I think everything lined up pretty well. It was hard to get all these posts exactly where I wanted them. And then in addition to getting the positioning just where I wanted them, I also had to get the orientation correct so that the T-bars would all be in alignment. So it was a little bit challenging. And this last set here, it's a little bit off on a couple of the posts. This last set didn't quite turn out quite as nice as the other ones. But, you know, once I get the kiwis to start growing on here, you're really not going to see all that much anyway. And, you know, the surface of these wires here still turned out pretty good. A nice flat surface here going all the way across. The posts here are 4x6 pressure treated wood posts, and I used some 8-inch bolts here, and you can see I actually cut into the posts a little bit to put the redwood crossbars on, and the reason for that is because well, for one thing, they didn't have any 10-inch bolts at Home Depot, and I didn't want to bother trying to find 10-inch bolts, so I just bought the 8-inch ones and then cut into the wood a little bit. But also, what this allowed me to do is it allowed me to tweak these just a little bit by cutting this and chiseling as necessary to get the alignment a little bit better, such that these bars would all line up. These T-bars would all line up, you know, not perfectly. You can see there's a little bit of misalignment right there, but it's pretty close. And cutting into the wood a little bit allowed me to kind of tweak the orientation of those bars so that it looked a little bit nicer. And really, you know, this is plenty thick here. I mean, this is probably it's probably 5 inches or so. And normally, you know, I probably would have just used 4x4 posts. So I think that thickness there is plenty thick. The reason I ended up going with 4x6 is just my concern with the potential rot over time there with the post being in the ground. And so the post being a little thicker, I figured it would last longer. You know, the pressure treatment that they do nowadays doesn't last quite as long as the older stuff used to, but it's not toxic either. Or at least not as toxic. So that's the benefit of it, I guess. And I did consider using railroad ties, like old railroad ties, but you know, just for that same reason they don't sell those generally anymore, is because it's got the creosote in it and then it gets in the ground. And you know, since I'm using this as an orchard, I just didn't really want to add that toxicity. Figured, well, I'll just compensate for the wood not being preserved quite as well by going with a little bit thicker post. So that's what I ended up doing. So there it is, my Kiwi trellis is done. But you know, a Kiwi trellis isn't much good without kiwis to go on it. So I did also get some Kiwi plants, and they're in the greenhouse right now. I guess we can go take a look at those. All right. So this is where I have my kiwis growing. You can see I have a lot of different things. These are actually not the kiwis here. These are some other different plants. Here we go. All right. So these are the kiwis. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different, 10 different potted kiwis here growing. A few of these are rooting, but most of these are actually already rooted, and they're just in pots and starting to grow. And you can see this is one that's already rooted. It's already starting to leaf out. So this is Actinidia deliciosa, which is commonly known as the fuzzy kiwi. It's the kind of kiwi that you'd purchase in the stores, although these are different varieties than what you get in the stores. And I've gotten varieties that are going to be okay here. The one you get in stores, I believe, is Hayward, and I'm not growing that one because we don't have enough chill hours here. So I'm not growing that particular variety. Let me get out of the greenhouse. I'm starting to sweat here. But I did get a bunch of other varieties that will work good here with the amount of chill hours we have, which I think is about 500 to 700 chill hours. And so I'm excited to try those. But there is another species of kiwi that I'm also very interested in trying. And it's a newer, kind of a rare kiwi species that is just starting to be grown here in the United States. And it's supposed to be a very good tasting, and also does better in the lower chill areas like Northern California. And it's called the golden kiwi. So named because the fruit, the flesh is actually a golden color rather than the traditional greenish color that is the fuzzy kiwi color. And so it's been grown here in the United States for a little while, a few years. You can find it in some nurseries in limited quantities and limited number of varieties. But I'm gonna try to get a hold of some of those golden kiwis and start growing those, because it's just kind of exciting to grow things that aren't commonly grown, or, you know, have the potential to be really good, but the potential really hasn't been realized yet. So that's one thing I plan to try out on this new trellis, is golden kiwis, in addition to those fuzzy kiwi varieties that I showed you. So that's all for now. I'm sure I'll do an update later when I get these kiwis growing. I imagine it'll take a couple years before I get fruit though. So until then, thanks for watching.